Hey there, Russ here. Welcome back to the shop. Well, we're going to do another rambling rampage. I have a bunch of different things I'd like to talk about. We're just going to spend some 15 to 20 minutes here. And if I don't get it all done, we'll just do another one. So anyway, starting off, I'm going to talk real quick about my gas caddy. If you remember, I bought one of those a couple months ago, earlier this year, I think. And I did a video on it and told you the improvements I made, including going to pressurizing the tank to get the gas out instead of using the hand pump that's on the hose. So, and it works awesome. I finally got through my first tank of gas. So I went over and I filled it up today. And of course, it finally is here in Wisconsin, $5 a gallon gasoline. So I know it's going up everywhere, but now we are part of that official club of $5 or more. So anyway, I really like the gas caddy. It works so much better than using those gas cans. We had to pick them up and pour them in. This thing, you just got that hose and you pump it just like you do a gas pump. And one thing I did do differently is I stopped using the foot pedal pretty fast. And I bought one of these. This is the Ryobi, because I use Ryobi, and it was $33. But I have to tell you, it was well worth the difference. Now I did also add this 8-inch hose extension on here, and partly because more hose was nice to have, but also this valve, it's not so good. That valve there, I was worried that it wasn't going to last very long, and trying to replace it looked like it'd be a real pain. Same thing with the hose. So by buying this extension, I got it on there. It never take it apart. I just leave it on here. And this allows me that extra hose length, which really makes it so much easier to use this thing. They shouldn't have been so chintzy on putting the hose on this. Anyway, what I have now, this thing works awesome. And I pull the trigger for about 5 seconds. And then I'm sitting there holding the gas pump and pumping it. And after 15 or 20 seconds, I'll squeeze the trigger again, another 5 seconds. Now, usually once you let off of the trigger, it doesn't even read any pressure on your gauge. It's that little bit of pressure. It doesn't take much at all. So as long as there's no pressure on the gauge, I know I don't have to worry about it. I just listen to how much gas is coming out of the hose as I'm holding the hose and using it. It works awesome. So anyway, after my first tank full, and now I refilled it and I put it back, that is really so much nicer than those 5-gallon gas cans, and so much easier to haul around. So, but I can't get more than 13 gallons in this thing. I took it back out and I only got 12.85 gallons. And this time there was a little bit in the bottom. So the gasoline that I put in the first time, apparently it was around 15.15 gallons of gasoline is what it was that's left. So anyway, the thing works awesome. If you wanted to make your life a little easier and have some gas on hand, as long as you don't mind the cost, because I will tell you, the setup of this to begin with, the initial investment, is a little higher than just buying a couple 3 5-gallon cans. But boy, is it well worth it. And this thing is far better than having 3 5-gallon cans of gasoline to haul back and forth and do things with. So anyway, I wanted to ramble about that. I got that done. Thanks for putting up with it. Also, I wanted to tell you real quick, if you're ordering anything off of, I was kind of really curious, how well is things shipping from Aliexpress? I haven't bought anything off of there for a while. So on May 12th, I ordered these little potentiometers just so I could order something. And it was less than $5 order. And it definitely came from China. I just received it yesterday on the 7th. So that means like 25 days shipping time on it. That's not bad. That's about what it always has been. So apparently their shipping seems to be coming through, even though ours stuff that's important to us doesn't seem to really come through so well. Anyway, I don't know why they're having so much trouble with the chain, with the all the power. I mean, power with all the supply chains that we have. Anyway, Aliexpress, it still works just like it always did. I do order some things from there, some things I order from other places. And speaking of which, I ordered 10 of these little flexible lights. They're USB, and I actually got this. This is a 10-port USB charger. I got it off of Aliexpress for like $18 or $20 delivered. But what was funny is that I got this idea after I bought these things that, hey, why don't we have a little fun? So I took and I just plugged it into here. And now what you have, takes a few seconds to warm up. There we go. And now we have this octopus of lights that you really get a lot of light from. So anyway, these things I think are actually kind of handy to have around. And I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I bought a pack of 10 for $10 off of Amazon. If you just put in USB light and you can find these things, a whole bunch of different ones. And just look for the right price, I imagine. Because that's what I did. And I bought a pack of 10 for, like I say, when I bought it, it was $10. 2 days later, I looked at it again. And it was $8 for 10 of them. So who knows what the price will be tomorrow. Anyway, they actually are kind of cool. And check this out. If I take, this is just one of my little USB power packs for charging up small items. But fits right in there. Turn it on and you have an instant flashlight. So anyway, I thought it was kind of cool, these little lights. I've been playing with them, trying to figure out what to do with them. I saw one guy out there, he took a USB extension where you can put several USBs, plug it into just one USB joint. So, and he put several of them on there together. And then he puts that in his power pack. And he has this octopus. Now his is this round one. And his wire is a little longer than mine. Mine's only this long. So, but anyway, I can find the right one. I might get one of those. Because having some of these things actually is kind of cool. But he put his on a little round USB port. We had 4 or 5 of them in a circle on one, and he called it his light octopus. So I think these are actually kind of cool. I may have to. I know that on the a lot of these power packs have the light built into them, but not all power packs do. So come on, why won't that go back together? Oh, there we go. So this is a nice little USB. It's only a 2.0, but the lights work on it. Most of the things I have to plug in if I'm charging several things. These things are great to keep around. So anyway, also on my little power pack, I took some black duct tape and just made a sleeve. This side is double layer so that it doesn't stick to it. And this side I have stuck down. And just gives me a little sleeve to be able to put my cord. Because the charging cord, you can lose and separate it. I wish they put a little pouch on these things or something. And maybe I might make a nice little leather pouch and attach it. I don't know. But these are nice little battery packs to have around. And I'd like to change the battery pack so I can keep one of these with it too, I think. And then anytime I want, I even have a little flashlight then with this thing. So these power packs, I'm getting more and more into them as time goes on, as well as my Ryobi batteries. What else do we want to talk about? So anyway, I thought these things were really cool. And I say, if you want them, if you can't find them, let me know and I'll give you a link to it. But I don't think you really need that. I think you'll be able to find them without any problem. I have just bought a cheap butane torch, and the darn thing was leaking fluid. Every time I went to use it after a couple of weeks, it was empty again. So I finally just threw that one away because that was past the warranty by the time I figured out there was something wrong. And I finally decided to just go out there and I just bought the Dremel. This is really a great little torch. If you have to have a torch, this is not a bad way to go because it has the stand, easy to fill, It does have a really nice fine adjustment for the flame. It has a safety on it, so you have to flip that in order to trigger it. I wish it didn't have that, but it does. But not only does it... Whoops. There we go. So not only does it work really well there, but it has a lock on it. So I can set it down and use it just like this. And then when you're done, you just take the lock off and it runs out and it's done. So to use it, you have to flip this each time to trigger the button to be able to fire it off. This works really nice. So the adjustments on this thing, it also has a fine adjustment over here to adjust the air going into it. So you can adjust the air. It's not a bad unit at all. And for the difference in price, I should have gone with this to begin with. But the Dremel version of this is the one that I don't have any problem. I think I'm going to really like this. I've been testing it for about a month now, maybe a little more, just to see if it keeps the gas in it. And so far, not only does it work really great, you have this really great adjustability on the flame with it, but it holds the butane too for you. So anyway, Dremel, that's the way to go. One of the main things I wanted to talk to you about is, remember this light? It was a light fixture that I had in my kitchen, and for some reason all the seams popped apart on it, and it was all hanging by the wires. So I replaced it, and I brought it out here, and I was playing with these LED lights that are in there. And if you remember, I was wanting to make a flexible thing for the light, and this actually is a pretty good setup where I used the 12 gauge solid core wire for rigidity, and then put a hose around it so that you can actually flex this thing in any direction. And I find that even with just a 2-inch of length of this thing really is it works very well for flexing. And you can turn it a little bit on there, but once I anchor these down, the 12 gauge I have anchored into here to this connector, and then from here the connector goes to the positive and negative wire here. And don't get me wrong, this holder, I don't like it at all. We're not going to do it this way. We're going to make something a lot smaller, so this thing is really just freestanding on there. But I think I finally got this totally mastered, and I know exactly how we're going to build this part here when we go to build it. So this actually, I think, will look a lot different, but I'm getting all the kinks out of this thing as I go along. So I'm ready. I've made a couple of them from this and then throw them back apart because I didn't like it. So I think I'm ready to make a final version, because I also was having troubles with the base, whether to make a big base or a small base. Can I make it so you can pick it up and carry it? And I think I'm going to end up with using this more like a desk light than anything. So in other words, I can set it right here, and as long as it's setting up high enough, I can turn this down and get a nice light for working on something. So it'll make a great light for lighting up your work if you really wanted to do something like that. But in order to do that, I still got to have room to be able to plug the battery in. Well, again, it's going to be a 3-way power capability, either from the car, from the wall outlet, or from a Ryobi battery when I get done. So I think it's going to be a very cool light still. I also was thinking, because with this one, in order to get all 3 of those capabilities, you have to use a booster and a buck converter. And so you need 2 converters on this design right here, with I'm using just 1 light. And I got to thinking, if I used 2 lights, I could have hook them up in parallel, and that means it would have taken 30 volts to run them. Then I only would have needed a boost converter to do all the different types of plug-ins. But they all 3 would plug into the boost converter, because it would run on a variation of electrical power without any problem, and it would boost it always to that 30 volts. And then again, I'll have the dimmer switch on there so you can dim it up and down. So maybe I should make one of these in a 2-light fixture that runs off of all 3. So you might see another one come immediately after I do this. After I get this light completely mastered about how I want to do it, because like I said, this thing is just, it's too bulky. So I'm going to streamline this now, make a very small case. Now that I know how I'm going to do my hookups and all, and I'm going to do the hookups with these little lever connectors. These things are awesome. They're like the Wago type. But this is an off-brand. But these things are great for this sort of thing, because I can just hot glue these down in place and build a little box right here, just big enough to hold these two and the line coming in. And this thing will actually become very dainty. I am going to have a backing on it, so the thing will have to have this panel back here that'll come up. But it'll be in the shape of this, so you really won't see it. Except for at the top, I'll have a thumb area there where you can grab it at the top to be able to move it, so you don't grab the light itself if you don't, to move it around. So anyway, I think I'm ready to build a real first-time prototype. I have already made 2 of these, and I've put it together and torn it back apart because something didn't work. I didn't like it, but I'm still working on it. It hasn't come to the place where I thought I would be a slam dunk and get this done in a couple of days, but unfortunately I have found that this is taking a little more brain power, for my brain power anyway, to try to do something with it. But it's a fun little project that I've been playing with. One of several things that I've been doing. So I also want to I've been doing some flocking experiments, and I've actually been trying to do it with a regular latex paint instead of the flocking paint that you buy. If you notice the price of that stuff per gallon, do the calculation. It'll shock you as to what you pay for flocking paint as opposed to using a regular. This is a latex, and maybe an enamel might work better, but I can buy this thing for 5% of what it cost you for the others. You'll see. Just calculate and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's going to surprise you. So if I can wean myself off of the flocking paint, I can just grab any paint I want. I can get all kinds of different colors, and I don't have all this money wrapped up in all these little tiny cans. I'll have some nice size cans I can do lots of things with. So anyway, we may end up using a different type of paint other than the paint that comes with it in a lot of cases. So stay tuned. That's one of the things I've been working on. And that's why I have not done my flocking episode for the bandsaw series, is because I've been playing with this stuff and with new paint. So there's always something going on in my head around here, and I keep kind of moving around from one to the other. What else do we have here? Oh, it's been 18 minutes. Maybe I should put this off until next time then for a few more things that I kind of wanted to talk about, including some Ryobi ideas I have. I have a really cool Ryobi idea that I think you'll really like, where we can build a battery bank like you wouldn't believe. So, and be an expandable power bank is what it would be. So stay tuned. When I get ready, I will talk about that a little bit. And I have some questions about that. So maybe you guys that know some things that I don't, maybe you can share back with me when I talk about it. So stay tuned. Any questions about anything we talked about here? Or you want to know where to get something, just let me know. But most of the stuff you should be able to find with just a little bit of knowledge that I've given you. So just let me know. Any comments, thoughts about any of it? I would love to hear your opinion, your ideas about it. So, but stay tuned, because and don't forget, hit that like button. It does help me to understand that I'm doing the right thing. Most importantly, though, if you would, please come back again. And you might want to bring your coffee for these sort of things, because we're nowhere near done. So thanks, and we'll see you guys again very soon.